Alright guys, so I'm starting out with the stamp set, and I've pulled just about every single stamp off of the stamp set and placed them on my Misty Stamp Positioner tool. Now I am using the detail ink in Raven from Brutus Monroe. This is a permanent ink. It is alcohol marker safe and waterproof when dry. So it is a gorgeous, gorgeous black ink. And I am using that stamp positioner just so I can make sure I get a nice, deep, dark, black, crisp, clear image. The beautiful thing about a stamp positioner is if you don't get it right the first time, you can always push it right on back over and get it right the second time. So I did stamp out some of the images multiple times, and now I'm just going to go ahead and use my Chroma Mists and color in my stamped images. So since the detail ink is waterproof when it's dry, I waited for these to dry before I went ahead and used my Chroma Mist. Now I am going to basically just paint in these bad boys with a small paintbrush. I'm not even bothering putting it on a paint palette. You could, if you wanted to, you can put it on packaging, a paint palette, whatever you need to do. But I just find it easy, less mess, no fuss, just to stick my paintbrush right into the bottle and get out the color I need. So I do a little bit of shading with the mermaid's tail here. I am using a combination of the blue and the purple. I am by no means an expert on ink color blending and all of that, but I like how it turned out, so I decided to leave that in there for you guys. Now I am just going to do basic stick my brush in the color and paint on the rest of the stamped images. Now you might be thinking this is some sort of funky stamp set to go with the photo. And you would if you didn't know the backstory. So this is a burrito. My boss at the time, she has since left us. She got a promotion and moved to another state. But my boss at the time bought us burritos on Christmas Eve. And, you know, it's just a weird combination. It was a weird combination for us, burritos on Christmas Eve. So it just matched, though, with the theme of this because of the food inside the burritos, so I'm going for it. Now, I am going to color in the adjoining things, the accompaniments of the bows and things like that in Christmassy colors. So the mermaid is wearing a little bit of an elf outfit that will be red and green, even though her tail is this beautiful green and blue, not green, that's purple and blue combination. So I won't make you watch me paint everything because, like I said, I am not some sort of super colorer painter. It's just not me. Now this is a sheet of 12 by 12 white cardstock, and I am going to be doing I don't even know if you could seriously call this a technique, but I have this one brush that I basically just pounce color onto backgrounds with, and that is this brush right here. Normally I don't spray my hand like I did here, but you know what? We're not going to let that bother us. What I do is I spray some water over top of the background paper, and then I spray the color right onto the brush and I pounce it down. And that gives me this effect that you see down here on the screen. Now it is something that I really enjoy doing. I love how it turns out. It reminds me of the faux wallpaper finish that we used to do back in the day. And it's just something that I enjoy doing. It's definitely not the most technique-driven process, but it's fun. and I like doing it, so we're just going to go with it. So I do use blue, green, and purple, just because I think that that is going to give me a good amount. Now, as you can see, my background is almost finished. I decided to go ahead and use some of the navy glitter glaze with that beautiful swirly wavy stencil from Brutus Monroe. And I'm just going to put some of that glitter glaze through the stencil so that I have a base where I am going to build the decoration of my layout. So it is kind of a vertical line right here, and then I decided to do a couple bits of it off the edge of the page. I don't bother pulling out my mixed media mat or putting a scrap piece of paper underneath of here, and that is because my mat underneath of my table is ridiculously filthy and I do need to take it off and clean it. Have I done that yet? No, I haven't, because that takes time, and right now I would rather be actually scrapbooking. So I go ahead and take the stencil and my glitter glaze palette knife. I'm going to go ahead and clean that off, and then I get back to my layout. So here is my photo. It is already die cut into a circle, and that is because I die cut the title of Mary Fishmas into a circle as well. Now, my original thought was to have lots of those flip-flop kind of wreaths on this page and just have basically a line of circles, and all of these other little bits would be decorating it. But as I was going, I went a little bit of a different direction than what I originally had in my head. Not that you guys would know that, because I haven't told you what was in my head until now. But there it is. Sometimes what you think you want comes out a little bit differently, and that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and place that down here, and then I place my little mermaid lady over here by the burrito. Now, I do have to tell you guys, like, flip-flops on Christmas where I live isn't really that big of a deal. It does get cold here, and it does get below freezing, but I haven't had a winter coat since we've moved here. Like, I haven't worn a winter coat since we've moved here. It doesn't snow, thank you, Jesus, because I am not a fan of the snow. So flip-flops and burritos and, shrimp burritos and all this other stuff is not a big deal where we live. Now, I am going to pop some of these things up on foam, and then some of them are going to be flat. And that is okay. I want the texture and the dimension on my page. I do decide to overlap my Mary Fishmas title with the wreath here. And originally I was going to put it over there, but I decided to take the little cute turtle off and move him down to the bottom of the page and put the Mary Fishmas up here on the top. Now, I do pop on these little hooks on presents. Guys, I just think this is the cutest thing ever. And I'm going to sprinkle them on the page over here on the left-hand side. But I still have to figure out what my, what I'm going to put over on the right-hand side, because this is a very left-hand heavy page, and I want something over there on the right. Now, I will say that my stencil and my glitter glaze palette knife were still out in the kitchen from when I cleaned them off. And, your girl was a little lazy and didn't feel like going back in there, so I just grabbed the glitter glaze and another palette knife, which is a no bad thing in my craft room, like one palette knife for glitter glaze, period. But I went ahead and just sprinkled some of the glitter glaze over here, and then built up a little, basically it's a subtitle. So I go ahead and get the flip-flop wreath over there. I am going to add a bow with the shell. I'm going to trim that little sucker off of there. And I don't really pay attention to what I'm doing, and I end up cutting the paper more than I really need it to, so I trim it down with my scissors. So my page isn't exactly 12 by 12 anymore, but you really can't tell, and once it gets in the page protector, you're not even going to notice either. So now I pull out my Color Vibes Simple Stories letter stickers. You can get these on the Brutus Monroe website, and I'm trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to title this. So I keep flipping and flapping over to see what letters I still have. I still have a good amount of letters, but I decide to put this subtitle over here as December 24th because this was on Christmas Eve. I do have to say, Christmas Eve at work is a fun time. Even though the maniacs are out shopping, we just kind of have like this relaxed attitude. Like, it is what it is at this point, people. Like, so sorry you waited until 12 hours before your kid was going to open their Christmas gift and you can't find what you need. Maybe you should plan ahead next time. Not that I would ever say that to someone that comes into the store, but believe you me, that runs through my head at least 16 times every Christmas Eve. So I grab some stickers and I go ahead and finish out my subtitle right here. And then I will add a little bit of journaling right underneath of that. I'm just going to use a black pen. There is enough black on the layout that I feel like it is an appropriate color here. Now remember, my glitter glaze is still wet, you guys. I did not wait for that to dry because I want it to scrapbook. If you're careful, you can do that. Sometimes you're a slob though. Sometimes I'm a slob though, and you mess it up. So just be careful if you are going to take a walk on the wild side and still scrapbook while your glitter glaze is wet. So that is going to do it for this layout, you guys. I will have links to some of the products that I used down below in the description box. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again real soon for another video.